Hey, what's up, everybody? This is episode 13. I'm gonna be honest, I do not feel like recording right now, but here we are. I'm here to deliver. I'm gonna record half an hour and then see how I feel. This might be a weird episode because I might record half today and half tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Because I'm so tired right now. I want to start this off by saying, maybe God is giving you everything you've asked for and He's promised you, but it's just taking a little more time than you may think, because everything is taking time to fall into place. So certain prerequisites have to be made and hit for you to get this certain thing. So maybe it's taking God, like He's acknowledging you and He's giving you this thing, but certain things have to fall into place and you may be getting impatient. But if you look at it, you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do to get from point A to point B? And is God making me a suitable vessel to fulfill the thing that I'm trying to do? Because if you want to do something but you can't do it at your current state, then God has to mold you and shape you, and you have to become a certain thing to acquire or complete the thing that you want. So I was thinking about that because sometimes we get impatient. We think, why isn't it happening? Is he even listening? But it just takes a little while. And if you look back at like the things that you wanted and where you are now, you may realize, oh, I'm in a place that was my dream state 5 years ago. And then you look now and you're like, oh, well, now it's just kind of normal, but I guess I did want that thing. And now I'm kind of the person who I wanted to be back then, but it just feels normal to you. And you feel like you're not there yet, but it's just perspective. I'm going to segue into, I don't think we realize how bad the alternative is compared to what we need and want to get done. You may think that that piece of cake will solve all your problems and that it's this unimaginably amazing thing that you're really, really craving right now in the moment. But, after you eat it, or even after the first few bites, you may feel sick or feel like shit or guilty that you ate it because you overvalued how good that thing would be. So when we overcompensate and eat more and more, it just doesn't help. It's this constant cycle of feeling unfulfilled, eating more, feeling like shit, and then eating more, and it's this constant loop. Compared to the alternative, which is to eat healthy. And I'm using the example of food because everyone eats food, right? And everyone's probably had that dilemma where in the beginning, at least, when you're trying to eat healthier, it's hard because you're used to a certain diet and lifestyle, and then when you're trying to change, it's really difficult at first. And sometimes on the inverse, maybe you're struggling to eat healthier, and then when you eat that meal that you were supposed to eat, you realize, oh, it's not actually all that bad. It tastes alright. It may not be what I wanted to eat, but it's good for me, and it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. So the case of overvaluing something and making something seem super unpleasant, but in reality, it's actually the opposite. And we're undervaluing something and overvaluing the other. So I thought I would share that with you because if you're this is difficult when it's difficult when you're adding new habits to your routine. Like if you're trying to go to the gym or you're doing something and then after a while you get used to it and you're like, oh, this is easy. But like with the food, maybe you get, on that diet, you're losing weight, it's good, and then you look at that piece of cake and you're like, well, it's probably not going to be that bad. Or like because you haven't had it for so long, you have this unrealistic expectation, or you just have an expectation in general. And that could be with people as well. You may be, estranged from someone, and then, you think they're a certain thing, or you have expectations and then you're disappointed. Expectations breed disappointment. And I'm not saying like don't look forward to anything, but don't overvalue things. Take them as they are when they come. So if you go out and you expect to have the greatest night ever, and then it was like a good night, but it wasn't as good as last week, Saturday or Sunday, then you're gonna be like, oh man, today wasn't actually good at all. What I'm trying to say is just take things as they are and enjoy them in the moment, and don't look back on things or look at something and overvalue it and have an unrealistic expectation. That's all. I'm going to talk about controlling input, because this is something that I've been working on as well. You can't always guarantee an outcome, but you can always control input. What you do every day you can control. Just don't focus on outcome. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you only focus on outcome, you won't be conscious of what you're doing right now. So with that, it's like if you look up the mountain and it seems so far away and like you can't do it, and it seems completely impossible. And then, you know, when you look down at your feet, you say, okay. I was talking to my friend Bill, and he's a older gentleman. I mean, he's not old, but he's like a middle-aged man, and he goes to my church, and I've known him for a while. We were talking about this, and he gave this example because he's climbed, was it Mount Rainier? I think it was Mount Rainier, here in Washington. And he was like, if you look up the mountain, you know, it seems impossible, but then if you look down at your feet, can you take 5 steps? Okay, great. Take those 5 steps, and then can you go another, 10 feet or whatever? Or can you go like another 20 steps, 30 steps? Or even just another 5, right? Because if you get too far ahead of yourself, then, and you don't, like if you want to take 30 steps and you only take 15, and that's all you can do, then you may beat yourself up. But if your goal was 10 and you do 15, you're going to feel fantastic. So don't set like unrealistic expectations. Just take everything day by day. Really just look at what you're doing right now. Look at, what am I doing on a day-to-day basis? How much time am I spending on everything, right? Do I really need to be on my phone that much? And I struggle with that too. I'm not calling any of you out. If anything, I'm calling myself out. But like, do I need to be on my phone? Could I spend that time doing something else? Do I really like doing this thing, or should I spend that time elsewhere? Or am I spending too much time working? Do I need to spend more time with my kids, right? Stuff like that. Okay, now I'm gonna talk to you directly. I want to say, get out of your own way. Stop limiting yourself and lowering the bar of your dreams. They should be scary. You should have lofty goals that, from an outsider's perspective, seem unattainable and unrealistic. It's not for them to do. It's not their objectives. God has given you the desire to achieve these things, so don't let anyone else tell you how to live your life, or to give up on something, or keep doing something that you really don't want to do. Especially if they gave up on their dreams, their goals. Maybe they don't even have any goals anymore. Maybe they don't have anything planned for the future, and their life is kind of bleak, and they may not even enjoy it, that they even want to do. Maybe they've submitted to society and have given up on doing anything worthwhile because they're too scared, they're paralyzed with fear, and that just gets them nowhere. But someone who's proud of what they've accomplished and continues to strive for better and push for more, there's nothing wrong with more. On top of that, I found myself listening to people like that, and what they were saying, like maybe a while ago, would have gotten me and made sense to me, but also I feel like some of them were just completely outdated ways that you can do, right? I mean, but they've just been around for so long, and there's other ways of doing things, if that makes sense. Because I was not taking advice, but I was getting lectured on something, and someone was telling me what I should do and what they want me to do. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, why am I taking advice from you? because I wouldn't want to trade places with them. If I don't want where you are in that aspect, why are you lecturing me on it, right? If I see opportunity in something, I'm gonna take advantage of it. I'm gonna go in on it and I'm gonna roll with it. But I'm not gonna take advice. Like, why would I take investment advice from someone who's never invested versus someone who manages companies' investments, and they're like they trade stocks and options or whatever, and they're into that, and they know bonds, and they know all that. Like, whose advice am I gonna take? Jerry from next door saying don't buy into that thing, or my accountant friend that has $1 billion investments and he owns a few homes and he knows what he's talking about and he's done tons of extensive research on it. Also, trust yourself and trust God. Like, do your research before you do something, and don't just jump into it because you want to do it. Like, research it. Is it feasible? Can you attain it? Is it real? Because sometimes it may not, it may seem unrealistic because of what other people have programmed into you, but do you look at it and see real potential that you could go and get? That's what I'm trying to say. I was asking God for something, and for the longest time it seemed like he wasn't going to give it to me. Then he showed me that I needed to narrow down and make what I wanted more specific. After that, it seemed like nothing came, but then he showed me that I was asking for the wrong things. I narrowed it down, but it was still not where I needed to go. So I was wanting things that didn't serve me and weren't what I really wanted. He showed and told me to be honest with myself, so I asked him for something that serves me and will give me freedom of choice. I really reflected on it, and I was thinking, okay, what do I want? Do I want this thing? I thought it would be nice, but can it give me what I really want in the end? And we all want freedom of choice. Because some people say they want money, or they want other things, or they want freedom in general, but it's what can those things give you, right? In copyright, or in advertising in general. In advertising, there's a product, and then there's features of the product, and then it's what can the product give you, like what's in it for me, right? So if I'm selling you an energy drink, and the product is the energy drink, well, one of the features is it has caffeine in it. Okay, what is caffeine? Well, caffeine, what does it do for you? It makes you energetic, whatever, right? It blocks that adenosine, and you're awake for longer, right? It keeps you up. A lot of people want money so they don't have to worry about money, right? They don't actually care about having the money. The money can buy you whatever, but they just want the freedom of choice. They don't want to have to worry about paying off their car or their house or being able to buy food. Maybe they don't want a big house. They just think it's nice because they didn't have a place to live. They were in a crappy apartment or whatever, right? So it's just, what can the thing give you? What's in it for you? And I had to pivot and shift to something that will help serve me better. He also had to open my eyes to the fact that we don't own anything. We own nothing. We're just borrowing it from God. Everything you see is God's. Even what you can't see. It's all His, and He's gracious to let us borrow His creations. Now He's holding my hand and showing me opportunity, and He's walking me down the right path. I was asking for things that didn't align with where I was trying to go. He let me realize that, and I understand now that I've been going about things the wrong way. I still don't know the right way, but I know that He is. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He is the light of the world and the most beautiful thing ever. He is everything. And I won't apologize for talking about God on this podcast, because with every episode that passes, I just want to make you guys think a little more. Think about what your relationship with God is. How can you better it? How can you better your lives? I just my objective for these episodes is to make you think, right? To give you an outsider's perspective and to share my thoughts and what I'm going through, and for you to know that, like, oh, this is another another flawed human being that suffers and has joy in their life, and they have pain and they're going through things, and they have a relationship with God, and their life is rocky. It's all ups and downs. It's like a heartbeat. If your heart rate goes flat, you're flatlining and you're dead, right? I can't remember where I heard that quote from, but I remember hearing that a long time ago, and I thought it was kind of funny. So I thought it was a funny analogy I should share with you all. Ooh, I want to talk about miscommunication a little bit, because that's probably my number one pet peeve, because it's such an easy fix, and yet it feels so difficult sometimes, because all you would have to do, like a lot of scenarios, a lot of cases, it's like you just had to say one thing to one person and it would have cleared everything up, but there was a disconnect between you two, so maybe you didn't know that they thought a certain way about what you said or what you did, and vice versa. So it's tricky, because even when it happens in movies, it just gets me, because it's like it's such a simple fix, and it's happened to me so many times, and I just don't like it. So like, even in relationships, any sort of relationship, communication is key, and I harp on that a lot, and that's a big thing for me, because I've had so many, just, you overthink nothing, like it's just so pointless and stupid, and it could just be cleared up in like 2 seconds. Ooh, I was thinking about this. Sorry, I'm all over the place. We're just going straight off the notes, and then I'm giving my thoughts on the notes after. I'll start off with this quote. How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail? If every day you wake up and go to the gym and your goal is to lose weight, you eat right, drink plenty of water, and cut out all junk food, you eat in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. So why isn't it the same for life? The outcome is guaranteed. I like to think of it that way, because sometimes we get so paralyzed from fear, and it's just overthinking, because we suffer more in our minds than in reality. Again, that's another quote. I can't remember where. I'm so sorry. But we just need to do the right things day in and day out, and the outcome is guaranteed. I think of it as like, you can't fail if you just do the right things every single day. So if I want to lose weight, I just need to do the right things day in and day out. And if you mess up some days, that's fine, but you pick yourself up and you keep going. If you want to land that job that you really want, or you want to do the thing that you've always wanted to do, imagine that the outcome is guaranteed. Like, when I go into job interviews, I go in the mindset of like, okay, if I go in, I get the job. I've done that a few times. You just have unlimited confidence, because you're like, okay, if I do the thing, I get the thing. It's guaranteed. And when you come out of it, you feel completely accomplished, and you feel like you got it even if you didn't, because you did the thing. I use that analogy for job interviews, and that stuff helps me a lot. Or if sometimes you have to make up like a fake, or treat yourself to certain things, like a fake reward, or treat yourself to an actual like small reward. Like I used to do it with like protein like stuff, because I like the taste. So it'd be like, if I did all the right things during the day, or I did certain things, I would give myself like protein stuff because at night, because it was like sugary and it was nice or whatever. And this was a while back, but when I was adding habits, it was like, okay, if you read a certain amount of pages in the book, then you get a protein bar, or you get some sort of like sugar, like maybe you want a piece of cake or ice cream or cookies or whatever the fuck. Then you have to do something before. I believe in earning everything, right? Like, none of it's yours. Like, if I get something, God gave it to me. But if I want to eat, I have to do something. Like, I have to take a cold shower, and I have to meditate, and then I can go down and eat. But I can't eat before. So things like that. And when I'm fasting, it's I give it to God. It's like, okay, this is for God. I can't mess up. I can't, like, it's for him. And then we can't mess up because it's always for him, and then he's number one. And that's helped me with a lot of like good and bad habits that I've been trying to cut out. I just give it to him. It's like, okay, for Saturdays I don't go to the gym. It's like my one, it's rest day, designated like rest day. I can't eat pork, and I fast 18 hours minimum. The fasting, it's like it's pretty difficult, but in comparison for what God does for me, it's like going to church. It's like it's an hour out of your time, maybe 2-3 hours, one day a week. But for God gives you everything else. Then you can go to church for a little bit, especially if you like your church. Then it's even easier. So things like that. Like for fasting, it's not as bad if you're doing it for God or for a good cause, whatever. If you're running a 5K and you don't like running, but it's for cancer research or something to raise money, and you're like, you know what, it's a good cause, I'll do it, right? Things like that. So sometimes you just have to put some sort of reward, or you have to do things for the right reason. And sometimes doing it for yourself isn't enough. Like sometimes I could use the example of like cleaning your room, because a lot of people have messy rooms. I just cleaned mine today. That's also why I'm using it. But like if you have people coming over, you're gonna clean it, or you should probably clean it. But a lot of people clean it right before people come over, like they clean the house, but they may not clean that well for themselves, but because other people are coming in, they don't want to be judged, because they may not care if they live in a certain level of filth. And I'm not saying like you live in just an absolutely disgusting place, but maybe you have like clothes on the chair or whatever, or you may need a vacuum, like I vacuumed today. So just things like that, you may not do them unless other people are looking at you a certain way, or like you don't want people to judge you. All right, we're back. This is part 2. It is, I think, 2 days later. It's Sunday when I'm recording this part. I think I was recording Friday. What is figuring it out? How do you know you have it figured out? Do you ever know if you have it figured out? I watched a video on that today, and I've been thinking about it ever since. It was a clip, and it really got me thinking. We're told to have everything figured out and to figure everything out, or a spiral of things will happen and we'll never be successful. But what is figuring it out? I think this is really interesting because I don't consider myself someone who has it figured out, but at the same time, maybe I do. I've been thinking about what I want and continuing this podcast. We're almost at 2 months now, and I'm thinking where I want to go with the gym and where I want to go with my career, and what do I want? What do I see myself going after in the future? And why? And it feels like the only thing that I'm really confident in is God. And I don't think I have it figured out, but at the same time, I do. Because I know what I want for the rest of my life is to continue to be a son of God, a soldier of God, and to spread His word, His name, His love, His affection, His affinity to everyone. As many people as I can touch and see, I want them to know His name. I define that as success, especially at my age. And A lot of people wouldn't. So there is no universal anything. There is no universal anything that we will ever agree on, because no matter what, there will always be someone who won't agree with what you have to say, someone who won't like you just for the sake of not liking you, and people will love you just for the sake of what you have to say, maybe not even about your character, just what you can provide them with. So why try? Why try to please people? What does success mean to you? What does abundance mean to you? What life do you envision for yourself? What keeps you up at night? Be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anyone else, but know for yourself, what keeps you up at night? What do you think about? And if you don't know what you want to do, no one does, really. Some people that seem like they have it all together, they're just better at covering up their shit. They're just better at masking the smell, you could say. They may be struggling the most because they have this title of responsible person, or the person who has it figured out, or supposed to. Then what happens if they don't? I feel like even the things we think sometimes aren't even our own. A lot of times it's what's been implanted in us from a young age. And what do we do about it? I've been thinking how now, especially younger generations, we are more not just divided, but isolated, separated, alone. People aren't interacting with other people. And when we're interactive and social creatures, and we don't have that physical, not just intimacy, but that physical connection with other people, we don't live in reality. We live in our minds. We live in our heads. We live up here in thought. And that's where fear and doubt seeps in, because if all you live in is thought, you have nothing better to do than think, because your brain sometimes has a little bit of trouble to turn off and slow down. So rather than being dormant and quiet, it runs, maybe even jogs or walks, but it's hard to slow it down and turn it off. You can never really turn it off, but you can slow it down. You can slow down your body and mind. And when we live in our minds, we're more anxious and scared and feel like everyone is being judgmental, that they're judging us and they're looking at us a certain way, when in reality they just glanced at you. They were looking for a water fountain and you were just walking by. What does having everything figured out mean? Figured out to who? Because I may have it figured out, but other people wouldn't agree. What if I'm enjoying my life and other people don't find it enjoyable? Are they gonna give me their 2 cents and tell me that I can't live that way or I shouldn't? Shame me or bash me for doing what I may like to do? I've been judged for being a Christian. I've been judged for speaking about God. Even if it's quiet judgment, even if it's silent judgment, the no response, the looks, the aggression, the animosity that is thrown your way, and you feel alone. You feel like No one can relate to you because God is loved, but he's also hated. I hated him. I'm not proud to admit it, but I can admit it. And I hated myself, and I hated the world, and I didn't love anything or anyone. And I feel like there are a lot of people in this world right now that are in the position I was. I think there are a lot of people struggling right now, and it's difficult to seek God out and admit that you were wrong and that you've been wrong your whole life. It's hard. And then what do you say to the people around you? How do you say, I was wrong? I was ignorant and blind and stupid and young, and I just didn't get it. But now I do. People don't like change. Change scares people. I think the reason why it's hard for me to feel loved is because I feel so hated. And I love myself, and I know God loves me, and he displays it, he shows me. It's hard for me to feel loved by other people. That's what I meant. I feel hated by many and loved by few, appreciated by none other than me and God, and judged by all. Maybe not all, but most. The tone for this half of the episode is going to be slow and methodical. I'm going to think through all of my points, and I want everything to come out properly. This is just off the top of my head what I'm feeling, thinking, and going through right now. I don't remember the last time I've really felt loved by another individual besides myself or God. I don't remember the last time someone said, I'm proud of you. I can't remember the last time someone said, I appreciate you and I love you. I'm happy for you. Maybe not happy for you. Maybe I see you. One of the reasons why people do heinous things are because they don't feel seen. They don't feel loved. They have no cheerleaders in their life. Everyone needs at least one. Maybe God is to you. Maybe you have to be for yourself. Right now I have two, me and God. That's it. And that's okay. Two's better than one. One's better than zero. But you need to at least be able to cheer for yourself, because no one else will. And even if you do, it's not guaranteed you'll have anyone else cheer for you. And that's okay. I don't know when the last time I felt truly loved and appreciated by another individual was. I don't really remember the last time I was complimented instead of disrespected. And I can't remember the last time I was uplifted. I'd like to be helped. And I'd like to be cheered for. I think everyone wants to feel these feelings. I think these are natural and good things to want. I'd rather you want to be cheered for than resign and not cheer for anyone else or yourself. I'd rather you compliment others and want to be complimented than resign and hate everything and everyone, hate the world, hate yourself, struggle with perception. Everything is so fast. It's nice to just sit and slow down, to just be here in this moment. I'm so tired, and I think a lot of people are in more ways than one. I'm falling asleep over here. Maybe it's because I'm fasting right now, but I'm getting tired. Sometimes you have to do nothing just for a whole day. I think it's good to every once in a while just take a whole day and do absolutely nothing. just do anything you want. Not have any goals or objectives for the day. Just be, just do, and then get back to it the next day. For me, that's Saturdays. It's the days I fast and I rest, and it's the Lord's Day. That and today, Sunday. I'm not fully happy with how I live today, but that's okay. I did okay, and that's better than bad. I made some progress, but it doesn't feel like enough. It feels like the more I want something, the more I don't get it. And I either fall short or I get nothing at all. And it's hard to detach from outcome. Maybe I need to start rooting for the other side and want to fail so I can improve upon my effort. Improve upon what I could do better and reflect and adjust for the future. Maybe I should be. It's hard to care. It's hard to care because it feels like no one does. You feel like an outsider, and that you feel abnormal, trying to do the right things. I would like to be around people more. I like to be surrounded by people because I don't feel like I get enough human interaction. I don't feel like I talk to enough people or see people enough that I actually resonate with, and it's sad. It's really sad because I don't want to live life like this, but I don't know what the alternative is. I'm lacking in a lot of areas, and it feels like I don't have enough of anything. It feels like the only thing I can do right is talk to God and read the Bible. That feels like the only thing that I can do that I'm doing right. I don't feel like I've been able to do anything right. It feels like no matter what I do, it's not enough. I feel so close but so far from everything. And it feels like no matter what I do, I fail. And I try and I fail and I try and I fail, and I'm hurt for failing, and I'm shunned for trying, and I'm talked down on. I don't have anyone in my life that I really want to be like and that I look up to, because the people who I thought I knew, I don't know, and now I don't want to be around them. And it makes me sad, but it makes me scared because I don't want them influencing me or my life, because I don't want to be like them anymore. And it's hard when there's someone close to you. I don't feel like I'm enough in any realm, in any capacity, other than when it comes to God. I know I'm His son, and I know He forgives me, and I know, but I don't fully understand that nothing in this world matters besides Him, because all of this fades and you don't get to bring it wherever you go after. Whether it's heaven or hell, you don't get to take any of it with you. We're even lended these bodies by God so we can live, but we don't even get to take them with. And I know that this is just a small fraction, and it's completely insignificant in the bigger picture, because this is less than 100 years, maybe 100 years, or a little more than that, and it's infinite after. How crazy is that? What you do on here, on this little rock, in the middle of nothing, determines if you get infinite peace or infinite hell, literally and figuratively. Infinite love or infinite pain and hate and torture. And yet, for a lot of people, that isn't success, because they trade the infinite for the finite. Think about that. You trade your whole future for a finite amount of time you have on a little rock that won't even provide for you or make you feel whole. Think about that. Even if you have everything here and you don't have God, you have nothing. In the grand scheme of things, you have nothing. And you don't even have a future. But I know that I have infinite abundance for my infinite future with God. And yet, I'm looked down on for that, wanting that, and preaching that, spreading it, spreading the word of God. I'm looked at weirdly because I want to be more like Him than anyone around me here. I want to be with more people who want to be like God, that want to be with God. And bless his heart, my friend Kevin, he was praying for me. He's saying, man, I pray that you have a friend who's like you, because I don't have that. Not yet. And I know I'm so close. I'm so close to having my ideal life. I'm a few months, maybe a few years away, but that's just the ideal life I see right now. Not 5 years down the line in the future, 3 years, a year. Things can change. We change. Don't be afraid of change, because it's inevitable. And if you fear change, you fear the future always. But if you don't, you accept it and you embrace it. I'd rather be alone than surrounded by people who aren't helping me. So right now, I'd rather be alone. And I don't have that choice. We've come a long way. We have. And I'm excited because I know we have so much potential, but this is painful. This hurts. And I feel like I'm going easy, and I feel like I'm not working hard enough, and at the same time, I'm so tired, and I beat myself up for not doing enough, but it never feels like it's enough, no matter what I do. So it feels like there's no winning. This is one of my favorite songs. It's called The Man on My Left Shoulder. It's by Quadeka. This might be, it was my favorite song for a long time, and it might still be, I don't know. It's that and Man I Is by Logic, but the song and the music video, it got me through so much, and it doesn't have really any bad memories behind it, even though I was struggling so much when this song came out and when I would listen to this heavily, and yet I don't have any real positive or negative emotions. I just remember, I really only have positive emotions with this song. It's like 3 parts in one, and it's about him questioning a lot. He's reflecting, and I could do a whole deep dive and analysis of it, but just go listen to it yourself. Listen to the lyrics, listen to it a few times over, pick out the little pieces, all of the stuff in the background, noises, everything. This and Sisyphus, because Sisyphus, I'm pretty sure, used like 800 different little cuts or whatever they're called in like FL Studio. 800 like little tracks. So whether that's like a little cymbal or a piano key, like 800 of those, which is crazy to think about. So I love Quadeca, but some of his new stuff, I didn't mean to haunt you. Sorry for Dying is a good song, but there's a few good songs on there, but I did not enjoy it very much. I remember listening to it and watching the video all the way through the first time, and it was not my favorite. Not even close. I didn't really enjoy it all that much. But From Me to You and the From Me to You Deluxe and this album is Voice Memos. This and his singles, he's come a long ways. But this song, so good because I was in the same place he was. He touches on everything I was going through in those moments. Failing, getting kicked out of classes, questioning everything, questioning nothing, just floating, failed everything. And there's so much that I can still relate to in this song because it's so raw and emotional, and it's very deep to see where I was and where I am now. 4, 5, 6 years ago, freshman year, till now. Man, I want to feel love in my life. Not just relationships, but not just like romantic relationships, but friendships, people I consider family. I've kind of denied myself a lot of things because I'm not in a good financial position right now. I've really struggled with not caring so much, because if you care about something and the outcome, and you want something, the moment you want something, it'll run. And I don't know how to sit still and let that thing come to me. I've tried so hard in the past, but I haven't figured it out. And once you master that, everything comes easy to you. I feel guilty that I ask so much of God, that I'm always asking for things, and I'm sorry. This might be a shorter episode because a lot of this has been silence, but I said what I needed to say, and I'm gonna pray and we're gonna get out of here. Dear Lord, please forgive us please forgive the ones who speak ill of you, who speak bad about you and your son, and all of us. Thank you for loving us and for paying our dues, paying our debts, paying them off, and setting us free and giving us eternal life with you. Thank you for letting us seek you out. Thank you for letting so many of us find you, because we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. Thank you for your love. We don't deserve it, but you give us everything. We don't deserve it, but you give it to us anyways. We thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name, in your name, in your love, we pray. Amen. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna go. I'll see you Friday, I guess, because today's Sunday and we'll upload Monday. So I guess I'll see you Friday. Peace.